And joining me now is Chris Brown, president of Brady, an organization focused on preventing gun violence, and civil rights attorney David Henderson. David, let's start with Colorado if we can. Is today just the start? Do you think there also could be federal charges in the coming weeks? And do you read anything into his lawyers writing in their filing that the suspect is non-binary, maybe something related to the harassment and bullying that they say he suffered?
Chris, I think the answer is yes to all. Yes, I do think this is just the start because unfortunately this case extends well beyond Colorado. We think about the criminal justice system as being penal so often that we forget it's also meant to heal. It's also meant to provide people with hope that they can stay safe. Attacks against the LGBTQ community, for those of us who do civil rights work, are rampant these days. And so absolutely what I expect to see is prosecutors come out and make a strong statement that people were targeted because they are members of a particular community, and someone is going to be made to answer for that. It is not going to be tolerated. I know they're going to want to be reluctant to do that because they want to wait to see what evidence they have to further support those types of assertions, but it's important for them to get out in front of it the same way that the defendant's lawyer basically is. The reason that they're pointing out their identity and their orientation is because they want to offset this being characterized as a hate crime. And that goes both ways, because on the one hand, the murder charge is the higher level charge. At the same time, a big part of what juries do is respond to the totality of the circumstances. This being a hate crime is a huge motivating factor in that context.
Chris, in both Colorado Springs and Chesapeake, Virginia, victims' families are facing the first of what will be endless holidays without the people they love. You've pointed out that on Twitter, things like this happen, and then tragically, the word tragically starts trending again. Is it safe to say with this, the 606th mass shooting this year, you're long over thoughts and prayers?
I think as a nation, we're long over, thoughts and prayers. It feels dizzying, horrific, nauseating to again and again and again wake up to reports of mass shootings in this country. And it's appalling to think that we're over 600. And of course, that statistic comes from the Gun Violence Archive, which means more than 4 people shot in a particular shooting incident. Think about that, more than 600. And we were just reeling after the shooting at University of Virginia, where individuals lost their lives on a school trip. Obviously, we're thinking about all of the families and the loved ones who lost individuals of the LGBTQ plus community in Colorado Springs. And now this shooting at Walmart, which in many respects, on the eve of Thanksgiving, having lived in smaller towns, in my life, Walmart and what it represents is really, in essence, the town square. And we have to be asking ourselves, not the particulars of any of these things, because not all of them have commonalities of the 600. What we have to ask ourselves is, what more can we do to stop the next shooting? And it's a lot. We need a better federal standard around background checks. We need to reinstate an assault weapons ban, and we need extreme risk protection laws passed by every state and funded. That's just a start.
Yeah, to that point, Chris, this year Congress did take some, what they say are big legislative steps, right? First ones to combat gun violence in decades, but they'll also acknowledge that there is more that needs to be done. When you look at the realistic list and understand the new Congress that's coming in, what would you prioritize? What do you think realistically, where can the fight go?
Well, what I would realistically prioritize is that we have a lame duck session and that this existing Congress has a huge and potentially generational opportunity, and the vast majority of Americans support this. When I say that, 94% last I checked. The House of Representatives has passed 2 really important bills, H.R. 8 to expand Brady background checks and an assault weapons ban. The Senate needs to take them up. We know from President Joe Biden, one of the greatest leaders on this issue ever to be in the presidency, he will sign both of those bills. Why is that important? We don't need piecemeal state laws around public safety with respect to firearms. Hate and firearms is toxic and deadly in this country. These 2 laws at a federal level will ensure we have a uniform approach across the states. And I want to see that happen in this lame duck.
Chris Brown, David Henderson, thank you both so much. We appreciate you taking the time today.